The Galaxy S25 Edge is remarkably thinner and lighter than your average flagship model, complete with the same One UI 7 experience and Galaxy AI features found on the S25 Ultra. But despite its impressive design, the S25 Edge's biggest shortcoming is its battery life performance. Apart from foldable phones, the designs of today's best phones haven't really changed all that much over the last decade I have been reviewing them. Each iteration has continually produced bigger phones, which seems to satisfy the appetite of what people crave. Samsung's taking a slightly different approach with the Galaxy S25 Edge, and I'm still not sure it's the right strategy. Although the S25 Edge looks very much like any other ordinary slate from the front and back, Samsung's focusing on its thin construction as a big selling point, all while including similar hardware as the S25 Ultra and other flagship models. But at the same time, the $1,099 starting cost of the Galaxy S25 Edge, which makes me wonder if the cost is really worth it, especially when the Galaxy S25 Ultra isn't too far off at $1,299. There is also the Galaxy S25 Plus to consider at $999, which offers nearly the same exact hardware. Samsung certainly does make it hard on me to decide if the Galaxy S25 Edge is worth its cost. A phone this sleek is an engineering marvel on its own and surely deserves a premium cost attached to it, but there are trade-offs that I'll go into detail in the other categories. For $1,099, you get a phone with 256GB of storage. Upgrading to 512GB raises the price of $1,219. There are three color options to choose from: titanium silver, titanium jet black, and titanium icy blue. There's a part of me that wishes for a couple of extra choices, especially considering how a phone of this caliber begs to be naked to show off its best asset. Samsung does make an ultra thin case that doesn't add a whole lot of bulk, but it would be nice just to have a couple of extra colors to choose from. The Galaxy S25 Edge is now available globally with up to $630 off in savings with a qualifying trade-in. The first compromise the Galaxy S25 Edge makes to reach its thinner construction is the sacrifice to its camera arsenal. The rest of Xiaomi's flagship line gets a triple camera array at the very least, but the Galaxy S25 Edge gets a dual camera setup instead, which consists of 200 megapixel main shooter paired with a 12 megapixel ultra wide. The trade-off here is that the Edge lacks a dedicated telephoto camera, which leaves all the zooming to its main camera. Even though the camera and lenses protrude much further out from the rest of the phone, I'm not terribly bothered by that, but there's a fair amount of oval if you lay the S25 Edge flat and try to type. Samsung doesn't explicitly say it's the same identical 200 megapixel main camera as the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but the Edge is inherently at a disadvantage because all other S25 models are backed by optical zoom cameras. Around the front, there's a 12 megapixel selfie camera with a pinhole cutout for it. Here are some camera samples of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge. I really want to like the Galaxy S25 Edge, but it's difficult because I was hoping for much more out of this thin phone. First and foremost, the biggest trade-off in making me a phone this thin and light is that the battery life is compromised in a big way. I wouldn't be as critical about that if the charging speed were faster, but it isn't. The Edge's build construction serves as a precedent for all phones going forward, but it does pose a conundrum in the sense of how much value it offers by doing this. Again, I have to point out the Galaxy S25 Plus and its $999 US cost. That's $100 less than the S25 Edge, but the S25 Plus still offers a thin and light design of its own, along with a dedicated telephoto camera, a larger battery that lasts much longer, and a faster 45-watt charging speed. At the same time, I have to include flip-style phones like the Motorola Razr Ultra 2025 into the conversation because it too has a thin design. Sure, it's more expensive at $1,299, but it has double the storage capacity, longer battery life, and a distinct advantage of being a foldable phone. For me, it offers more utility than the Galaxy S25 Edge thanks to its foldable design and outer screen. And finally, there's the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra at $200 more than the Galaxy S25 Edge. You will have to deal with a thicker and heavier phone, but I think those concessions are well worth it because of how the Ultra has better zooming capabilities with its camera's outstanding battery life, faster charging, and the extra utility of the S Pen. Plus, it has a larger screen to round it out. I think I would be more impressed in the Galaxy S25 Edge if Samsung made it even thinner while also shrinking down the size of the phone, but still packing the same chipset and cameras. Samsung's lineup is already dominated by several phones with a 6-inch displays, but it would have been different if there was another small phone option. The Galaxy S25 Edge is an okay start to this trend, but its successor is going to need to do a lot more to really differentiate itself from the pack.